It's time to get things started on the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, situational. This is what we call the Dynasty.
An all-star fantasy football experience.
Welcome to the Dynasty Podcast. I'm Commissioner and reigning champion Eric Costanza. With me is Bob Palucha.
Good morning, San Francisco.
Bob, we haven't had a show since the regular season has started.
Yeah, right.
So it's been a couple of weeks. I think it's a kind of a good format we have going. You know, you let the league play itself out a little bit.
Yep.
And we'll kind of dip in every now and then.
Yeah.
Dip your foot in the water.
Like a little. Oh, speaking of that.
Speaking of water.
Now, speaking of your accent.
Oh.
Have you seen that commercial? I forget what it's for. I think it's a insurance commercial or something. The kid's talking to his parents, and he goes, "You guys just been really great roommates so far. You know, like
yes.
you were okay with my British accent phase. We're literally out of milk."
Yes, I did.
That
yeah, that is a good one. I chuckle when I see that. I thought you were talking about water because one of the biggest discoveries of humankind.
Yeah, flowing
water on our possibly flowing.
Okay.
Right, it's frozen. It could be flowing. We don't know yet. Oh, I had the hiccups. That made me have the hiccups. Let's talk a little bit about Let's talk about some storylines.
Sure.
So we're 3 weeks in here. Things have come up. The duration of the season thus far. Yep. I actually asked you to maybe come with a few things, but maybe I'll start.
Sure. Yeah.
You can chime in. Let me know if I've missed anything.
Yeah. I'll dip in like my toes in
the Mars water. Yeah.
Yeah.
In general, I find, and I could be wrong. I don't have any stats to back this shit up, but I find that the scoring might be down a tad bit. In general. I know that this past week we had a couple guys, we had Will winning in the 170s and Ben had a great week, but I think in general the first few weeks, I think Phil and then myself who had the high points for week 1 and 2 was in like the 120s. And
yeah, I think something that might have to do with that obviously is there's been a lot of injuries, especially to high profile quarterbacks, Roethlisberger, Romo, Jay Cutler, I guess, but Breeze was out, and so that affects not only those teams that have those quarterbacks, that affects all the running backs and receivers on those teams. So that's definitely been a big problem. You see a lot of not no-name guys, but guys you wouldn't really expect scoring touchdowns as opposed to the big guns. So yeah, I would agree with that.
Do you think some of it has to do with the abundance of penalties this season?
There are an unbelievable amount of, especially offensive pass interference.
Yeah,
the pick play.
I've heard in various fantasy circles that I'm in, because I'm an official media member nowadays, that people are debating, if you will, that when a receiver gets pass interference on him, is that
offensive pass interference,
that you should get fantasy points. But it's such a big play in the game, like it could be like an 80
yard. I'm sorry. So you mean like defensive pass interference against him?
You? Yeah,
sorry.
Okay, right. So a guy like I think your boy John Brown has a bunch of this year. Yep. I know Torrey Smith is known for doing that. So I'm not a fan of it, but it's something that's out there.
It's an interesting thought, but yeah, I would disagree with adding that in, but that's an interesting thought.
We haven't seen any trades yet since the season has started.
Yep.
Actually, I apologize. We have seen one. Chris and Zach had that
Sam
trade.
Bradford trade. Looking great so far.
That was a wonderful move. But I know that typically we don't see a lot of trades in the first few weeks. Again, everyone's kind of feeling each other out, and
it's my favorite part, feeling each other.
I haven't even been offered a trade at all. And let me guys, a little secret. Everyone's available on my team. Everyone.
Yeah, and that's still early, but I'll tell you this. If I lose again, I may be ready. So It depends. It depends what happens.
If you go 0-4, I think you're giving up.
That's a tough hole. That's a tough hole to climb out of.
We play 15 games in this league.
I understand.
Don't give up. Don't pull a Ben Green.
I'm not guaranteeing that I'm going to sell. I'm just going to say that thought's going to start to creep into my mind.
Fair enough. Another storyline, just in general, let's talk about some just surprising types of things that have been going on, and then maybe things that aren't surprising at all, things that you would expect. And what I'm going to do, Bob, I'm going to say something.
Yep.
And you just say true or false. Okay. And feel free to chime in if you like.
I like this.
So this is in the not surprising category. Okay. Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady are the top quarterbacks in fantasy. Not surprising?
Not surprising.
True.
So I'll either agree with you by saying not surprising, or I'll say surprising. So instead of true or false.
Okay.
Not surprising.
Not surprising.
I think going into the season, Luck was going to be battling for that, and obviously that is not true. So that's a little surprising, maybe in my eyes, maybe not everyone else's. But yeah, Brady and Rodgers are definitely a large step.
This isn't about
above most all quarterbacks.
This isn't about you, but obviously you and I co-host.
I just chimed in.
Sure. No. What I was about to say is the fact that we talk about our teams maybe a little bit more than maybe we should, but it's hard not to. I mean, if you were co-hosting, listener,
right.
you know your team more, you'd want to talk about it. Yeah. So, do you regret not keeping Gronk? Remember that was something.
It's easy to say that now. I mean,
I was surprised at the time. If you remember,
that thought never crossed my mind. One, he's injury prone. Two, I didn't think I could count on him for 16 games. If I had known the Pats were going to
the Gronk tour of 15.
If I had known that, I definitely.
You kind of did. You predicted Brady to win MVP, didn't you? I mean,
yeah. I didn't don't know. I didn't see Gronk having the first 3 weeks that he's had so far.
Sure.
Then again, he could get injured week 6, and who knows?
Yeah,
so
still early.
For now, yes, I do regret that.
Andy Dalton, Carson Palmer, and Tyrod Taylor are the 3rd, 4th, and 5th best quarterbacks in fantasy.
Surprising,
yes,
certainly. I am very much against Big Red as any sort of good quarterback, but he has been playing well.
Yeah.
Tyrod Taylor is very surprising.
Yeah. I remember when I drafted Tyrod, and this isn't about me again, but I drafted Tyrod Taylor, and I want to say it was the 15th round. And I remember Zach literally being offended and being is that
that's
a legit
gross.
pick?
That's disgusting. But
the thing that amazes me though, Zach is just have you noticed he's always wrong about everything?
For what it's worth, we do.
I appreciate his passion, but he's almost always wrong.
Every week we do. Me, him, and Heaney. We pick all the games, and the loser has to buy the beer the next week, and then we do board bets.
Does he go 0-20?
He's been last in the picks. Actually, he actually won last. The first 2 weeks he was in last every time, and he actually made a comment about that. So it's kind of funny you say that, but
yeah. Let's see. Loggers, Satanists, Senators, Hong Kong, Pig Newtons are all either 3-0 or 2-1.
Not surprising.
Right. I would agree.
Those are. Most of them were heavy favorites coming in. I think Will being is he 3-0?
He's 3-0.
3-0. Will be. I think that's the most surprising.
Okay. I'd say Satanists at 3-0 is the most surprising, just because
not that he didn't have Bell for 2 games.
Yeah, not having Bell. If you look at his points, if someone said to you, "Hey, John's gonna score, I don't know, on average 90 points each week," you wouldn't say he's 3-0.
He squeaked by me. He squeaked by a couple of times.
He's making some good moves though. That Doug Baldwin move a couple weeks ago was huge.
Yeah, he goes as Gronk and Brady go. So far so good.
And they have a bye this week, so we'll see what happens. Yes. Soul Glow, Bubblegum Shrimp, and VIP are all either 0-3 or 1-2.
I think that's surprising.
I agree.
I think. I certainly had high hopes for myself coming in.
As did I.
I think other coaches, judging by the preseason ranks or post-draft ranks, I should say. Obviously, my team has done horrible. Heaney 1-2. I think Heaney had some good players, and he'll still tell you his team's great. Trust me. He'll be Joe Bucked by the power rankings this week again.
We'll get into that.
So yeah, I think it's definitely a little surprising.
Julio Jones, Antonio Brown are top 3 wide receivers.
Certainly not surprising.
Larry Fitzgerald is the 2nd best receiver, and this is 2015.
Is there any chance that we're going to talk to Will today?
You know what, Bub? I'm glad you asked that question, because later on the show we are in fact going to talk to the coach William Q. What Q stands for, I don't fucking know.
Quintoris.
I don't know. I really don't know. DeYoung of the Rock the
So let's shelve that question, because I would like to ask him a question about that.
Sure thing. And then lastly, the last thing here, which this obviously goes in the not surprising category. I wasn't even going to mention it, but the Riverdale Scoopers are 2-1, 3rd most points scored in the league. Obviously,
extremely surprising.
I'm sorry.
Extremely surprising.
But if wait, whoa.
Now it's time for another self-serving, self-indulgent, all about me, useless stat, factoid, or general opinion.
Okay, all right. So you're riling me up. You got the hair standing up on the back of my neck. This isn't about me, but all right. So let me ask you this in a different way.
Sure.
You're a baseball guy.
Yeah.
You know, you enjoy the MLB.
Sure.
Okay. Going into, say, next year, going into April 2016.
Sure.
Would you say that Mike Trout is one of the best baseball players in the league?
You could argue the
Why?
best.
Why?
Argue
Tell me
the
why.
best.
Tell me why.
Because he does everything for the team. He does everything. He can hit, he can run, he can play defense.
Based off of what you've seen thus far in his career?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So, with that being said...
I don't know where this is going.
Well, 11 years worth of history, right?
Okay.
I mean...
That's really not quite the same.
No?
It's not a good analogy.
Do you know what the Riverdale Scoopers' record is in their last 26 games played in this league?
Let's see. 15, 14...
20...
I wanted to do it.
23-3.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm
That's
just
not
saying.
quite the same, though. You can't...
How is it not the same?
Because your team last year is not the same as your team this year. They're different
I'm just
players.
saying, in general, why is it surprising that I'm competing? That's what I'm asking.
Because the players in your team should not be doing what they're doing, put it that way. Carson Palmer's a great pick.
You got to look at the coach.
First
of all, I didn't pick him. I did not even pick
was a
that
great
man.
pickup, whatever.
Pickup. Right.
Carson Palmer was a very, very good. He is playing extremely well. And
He's available.
To be honest with you, he actually has played well when he's been
not hurt.
When
Right.
he's been healthy,
right.
is the word I was looking for. So you got D'Angelo, which was smart by you, but obviously he's gone.
Picked up Dion Lewis.
Yep,
Picked
Dion
up
Lewis.
Dante Moncrief.
No, hey, you've made some good pickups, but I don't think
you're looking at the players and not the coach, Bob.
I'm telling you right now, I don't think they will sustain this production for an entire season.
Time will tell.
Yes.
Time will tell.
Tale as old as time. Beauty and the Beast.
All right, so on this show, well, actually, shit, I missed one thing. Another storyline.
Shit.
One of the probably the biggest. I don't know if this is the biggest storyline we've had thus far. Well, you let me know. But,
yeah.
So 2 weeks ago, Coach Zach Palucha.
Yep.
He dropped about. I received a Jerry Gard like 14, probably more emails all at once.
Yeah.
In which he dropped. Or he thought he dropped every kicker in the league in an attempt, a strategic / weasel attempt to prevent me from having a kicker in my starting lineup. Now this is interesting. First of all, I want to mention that there is an ethical complaint into our ethics department, which we'll speak to Will about this later. And I know he's reviewing this. His findings will come out later in the season. Not against the rules. Definitely a strategic move. We actually talked about this in the off season, this past off season. What do you? I don't know.
So all right, so
let's get it out there.
Yeah. So I've already meant this to you, but for anyone else listening, I told you, Eric, that your strategy. You had a strategy going on where you would not have a kicker, so you could keep 7 bench spots until the last possible minute or whenever you did it or whatever, which is fine. Good play. And so he countered with his own strategy of essentially blocking you from picking up a kicker.
Yes.
And so my one of my main points to do was you could have prevented this from just picking up a kicker at any point before Saturday. It wasn't
nothing against the rules.
Yeah, so I think it was strategy versus strategy.
But it was one of those those things too, though. I mean, Zach has, at this point now, a little bit of a reputation for doing those types of...
absolutely.
Acts. I mean, I think back to the time where he clearly used the internet to cheat to get the number 1 pick a few years
ago. At the time, not
against the rules, but just a weaselly type of thing.
Hold on, I'm going to have to pass on that one. Can you come back to that one? Oh, never mind, I got it.
Well, anyway, that's where we're at with that. Maybe we'll readdress it again in the offseason, because I actually personally think there's an okay time to do it and a not okay time to do it. So I think we might need to govern.
One other thing he did say, he goes, I want to beat Eric, so I don't have to buy the pizza.
Yeah, fair enough.
That was a
again, all within the current rules.
Yep.
Weaselly, but within the rules.
Sure.
At least that's my opinion. On this show, we will talk about last week's action. We're going to have a power ranking segment. We're going to talk to Coach Will DeYoung. He's the 3-0 South Riverdale Division champion, or leading, and he is the champion, actually, of the division as well.
I believe Hong Kong is leading that division, no? Is it Will? Because the 176, maybe put him over the top?
Hong Kong is 2-1. Senators is 3-0.
Oh, really?
That is correct.
Hong Kong lost
To Phil 2 weeks ago.
last week.
Yes.
I should change my power rankings.
Well,
I thought
maybe we will do that on the
I missed
fly.
that.
We're going to review Week 4, and who knows what the hell else is going to happen here on this show. Who the hell knows? Mars has water, so there's that.
Now let's take a look into last week's results. Who kicked some ass? Who sucked?
All right, so let's talk about Week 3's action, Bob. It's probably the higher scoring week that we've had so far.
Yeah, I think
a lot of good games.
Yep.
What stood out for you?
I think Will thrown up $173.
Yeah.
That might, it's got to be probably top 10 all time, right? Scoring in a week. Close maybe. I know we've had a couple 180s. I had the 200.
You're asking me like literally the one show that I don't have the spreadsheet of.
I think I would go out on a limb and say it's probably.
I know it's not Will's top score ever. That's in the 186 range, but it might be top 15,
close.
top 12.
Yeah, it's close.
Ever.
So good, lot of points there. Whiffing with a comeback win. With Randy Cobb.
Yeah, that
three touchdowns.
I'm wondering if Derek and/or Matt were watching that Monday night game.
I fell asleep, and I actually needed.
You almost came back.
I know. Why? And I didn't see that.
Yeah.
So I needed obviously Macklin to score a bunch of points. I woke up and I saw it. I only lost by 6. I'm like, wow, we must have had a monster second half.
Yeah, he had 20 points.
Yep.
Only
Basically all in the second half.
Yeah.
I think it might have been all in the second half.
And the Chiefs receiver finally had a touchdown.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff, a lot of good games. Soglo gets off the schneid by beating Phil in a pretty big game, which I'm actually glad to hear. I don't know if Brian's still a listener here. I hope he is, but he did let me know in a personal email that if he loses this game, he was going to quit fantasy football.
Oh, wow.
I hope that was more tongue-in-cheek and not serious, since we all have lifetime contracts signed with our own blood, guts, and cum. But speaking of cum?
No.
Oh.
Speaking of cum, I was watching the game with Zach and Heaney last week, and hearing Heaney moan and complain about Greg Olson was a lot of fun, because Ben has Greg Olson,
right?
And Greg Olson, another touchdown, another long gain, Greg, are you kidding me, Greg?
Yeah, so but why? Greg Olson's like the number one target on Carolina.
It's just because the week before, I think Chris has him on another team, and the week before, I think he got 1 point or 0 points.
Okay, all right.
And then the week he plays him, he also played Mark Ingram in like 5 leagues, and Ben has Mark Ingram, and of course Mark Ingram scored, so it was fun. It was fun listening to that.
That's fantasy football for you.
Yeah.
A lot of, I'm sure this happens all the time, but I'm keeping track of it this year due to actually a reader of the Riverdale Gazette suggestion. So thank you for that. I don't even remember who it was. Someone in this league. Actually, it may have been some Jay Young. So anyway, there's been a lot of. I'm keeping track of it in the Gazettes going forward, which you guys will see when they come out. As far as wins and losses decided by our own coaching maneuvers, such as adding and dropping someone and then playing the guy that you just added.
I think you can
starting, sitting, trading for guys, stuff like that.
They have a tab.
Yes.
On there. I don't know if it's the same exact thing.
It's not, but it's
okay.
It's in the standings.
Owner stats. Go to owner stats.
And it's very
it's similar.
It's very like computerized, without a soul.
It's not quite the same.
Right, but it does give a little bit of that. But mine's not gonna be perfect science either, but it's going to be a little bit of a breakdown of that in the Gazette, so that should be fun. So, anyway,
me playing Matt Jones this past week.
Ooh, that was rough. And actually, I do have that one in there. You played Matt Jones over. Was it who was?
Well, I could have played Ryan Matthews.
That's who it was. Ryan Matthews, because DeMarco was out. Yeah. So that was a tough one.
Every expert had him like a top 10 that week.
Yeah,
and that's why I put him in, because Dave Richard, my buddy, said he was a lock. He was gonna have a great game. He was like the 8th best running back this week.
In your and Dave Richard, who is also my buddy's defense, Matt Jones fumbled at the 1 yard line.
Trust me, I saw that.
Which was an 8-point swing.
Yeah.
Which
so that
would have won you the week.
And guess what? Week 1, when Jordan Matthews scored a touchdown and they called him out of bounds, and Chip Kelly didn't challenge it.
Yeah, what happened?
And then they ran it in. I would have won that week too. So I could easily be 2-1.
The Power Rangers!
Rankings Association.
Woo!
-1. Unfortunately, Coach Whiffen is not with us today. However, obviously yourself and myself in studio. We also are joined by Coach Ben Green and Coach Brandon McDowell on the line. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us, guys. Hello.
Now, Ben, you're actually a new addition. I think, was it after week 1?
Yeah, either after week 1 or
After the post-draft maybe.
Rankings,
So,
yeah.
so Ben, how's it feel to be a part of the illustrious PRA?
Well, I know the history of the PRA, so I was, very happy to be invited, and I jumped at the opportunity. So it's been fun these first 3 weeks.
Good, and you've been spot on with your rankings. You've been getting them quickly. I think basically everyone has, except the first week. I had to backhand a couple people, but for the most part, it's been pretty speedy, which is good. I like to get those up as soon as possible.
This league is a goddamn machine at this point.
True. Ben, before we get to Brandon, I have a question for you specifically.
Sure.
And I hope you don't mind me spilling part of your personal rankings, but you ranked yourself the 3rd best team in the league.
Humble.
After putting up $150 or 3-0, my question is, are you maybe holding back because you don't want to seem biased towards your own team, or is that really how you feel?
Well, I mean, I've never been in this territory before, all right? So I've never been 3-0. And, after week 1, I get Dez injured the first week. T.Y. got hurt a little bit, so I said, here we go again. So I'm kind of, nervous going all the way this quickly.
Okay, that's fair enough. And to be honest with you, Ben, after Dez and T.Y. got hurt, I bumped you down a little bit as well. So that makes sense.
Fun factoid, Boston Lagers has tied his franchise record of winning 3 games in a row.
There you go, Ben. Congrats.
I'm wood.
Very good. All right, Brandon. For those of you who don't know, Brandon made a spreadsheet that makes things a lot easier for the writers of the PRs right now, me and Brandon. It is spectacular, but if you look at it, congrats.
Good job, Brandon.
At first glance, it looks like you're trying to decipher Einstein's, most famous equation or something. Like it's unbelievable. But once you finally realize what to do, it's like, cutting a piece of pie or something.
Quick shout out as well to Brandon, just in general with the spreadsheet guru-ness, because he's also the man behind the league spreadsheet. He essentially developed and created it and helps update it. So, Brandon, you're doing one fantastic job behind the scenes from a spreadsheet standpoint. Regarding the website, I want to elbow you in the head. But, like, physically, I want to elbow you sharply in the temple. But anyway, good job with the spreadsheet.
Thanks, guys.
Brandon, I don't mean to, kick you while you're down or elbow you in the head while you're down, but how does it feel to be a part of the Power Ranking Association and have to do the write-ups and the rankings when your team is just not even close to competitive?
I think, it definitely sucks. I mean, I think when you're in it, it's a lot more fun to write these things up. But the way I look at it is it's 11 comments to really come up with. The bottom 2 or 3 are just kind of garbage, along with the garbage teams that are in that spot. So
that's true. It's actually a pretty good segue. I want to talk quickly about kind of there's clearly a few tiers in our standings here. We have the bottom few. I think Brandon, Zach. I'm approaching that level. We have the studs at the top. I think all 5 of us, ranked Will, Whiffen, Phil, and Ben, I think, as the top 4 teams in some order. And then the mess in the middle. That's the one I really want to talk about. I don't know about you guys, but I have an incredibly difficult time trying to rank like 6 through 9.
Who are?
So I think John was almost a unanimous number 5.
Okay.
So 6 is in some order Eric, Chris, Derek, and Brian, and then maybe you can throw me in there. I'm kind of towards the bottom, but You know, those 5 or 6 teams there, it's a crapshoot.
If I could jump in, I agree with Bob.
Yeah.
I agree with the top tier and the bottom tier and the middle tier. It's hard to really decipher because you don't want to just go off the records because some team could be you could think a team is a lot better than their record could show. Like for example, I think Sokolo's team is better than 1 and 2. He could very easily be 2 and 1 or 3 and 0.
We just talked about I could be 2 and 1 very easily without 2 stupid touchdowns.
We talked about that off the air, but you're absolutely right, Bob. You could very well be 2 and 1 or at least 1 and 2, not 0 and 3. So you got to look at the points as well. You got to look at what's going on with the team, if there's injuries and whatnot. That's kind of what I do.
Agreed. Ben, what do you think about that?
No, you guys are thinking how I was thinking today. The records are there, but I kind of looked at the points. I kind of put in a little spreadsheet I have at work, week 1, week 2, week 3 points, and that's why I'm sure you'll ask me, but I did rank Will number 1 because he has the most points in the league after 3 weeks. So, I looked that up. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, can I ask you guys, this was a little bit of a hot topic earlier where I got a little flustered, and I'd like to apologize to the general public for that. How much does history...
Oh, jeez.
What? Is that not... do we not... All right, fine, whatever. We don't have to
Well,
talk about that. I think it's a valid question. We're on that topic right now. Who was that?
What, Brandon?
I think we need to donate at least like an hour of podcast to this very topic. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, wow, an hour. That would be too much. That'd be more time than we're allotted, unfortunately. It sounds like we're all pretty much on the same page. Our rankings, I've actually found, and we can kind of end with this. I've found so far that I feel like we're so far we haven't been as similar, I guess, with each other, and I think that's kind of because of that mess in the middle. In past years, we've we are consistent with the tiers, but I think some people have certain people ranked higher and lower, and I find it interesting. It's fun. I'm glad we have five people ranking. Some people might think that's too many, but I think it gives a good balance to the outcome of the rankings.
And it sounds like we get some people actually flustered and upset over our rankings. I know Chris posted a very hateful message to us a couple of weeks ago. Which I don't know if we already did, but did we announce who the number 1 team is right now on the power rankings?
We haven't, but they are posted. They were posted on Tuesday.
Yep.
Tuesday afternoon.
And it's Boston Loggers, is it not?
The Boston Loggers are number 1 in the power rankings.
Ben, congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
I think it's your first time ever in the number 1 slot, so the pressure's on now. Everyone is looking at you as of right now, as the number 1 team, at least from a consensus standpoint. As you said, you didn't even vote yourself number 1, which is very humble of your ass. But, how does that feel?
It feels great. I had a great start, and I'm looking to keep it going the next couple of weeks,
Good. I hope you do, Ben. I
don't sell.
Oh, hell no. No, this is... the question is, when are you going to start selling, man?
Yeah. On that note, Brandon, you are the consensus last place team, so congratulations to that fucker.
I would like to know what it's going to take for me to get out of that bottom spot. Are we going to have to wait until I say...
Score more than 58 points.
You know what? If you win and Zach loses, I think that could do it. I mean, it's really between you and Zach, and I'm curious to see who is going to get their first win if either one of you get a win at all, ever. Well, I guess you guys play each other.
Yeah.
So, by default, one of you needs to get at least 1 win.
Yep.
So.
All right, well, I think, gentlemen, that'll wrap it up. I'm glad you were able to take some time out of your busy schedules. I know we're all quite busy. So, Ben, thank you.
Yep, thank you, guys.
And Brandon,
thank
you as well.
And Whiffin, thank you too? No?
No.
Oh. Thank you, Matthew.
Now it is time. Fucking right, it's time. So grab your balls and let's go. Coaches interview. Here we fucking go.
All right, Bub. So we're gonna go ahead and try to get Coach Will DeYoung of the Rock Alien Senators.
Bill.
Billy, yeah.
Bill.
He goes by Billy, or he used
Bill
to go
Haywood.
by Billy. He is the reigning South Riverdale Division champion, and he's currently in the lead in the division.
What's up, guys?
Hey, there he is, Coach Will DeYoung. We are live here on the Dynasty podcast. We're calling into your headquarters. You're here. We're here. Bubba's here.
I'm here.
I'm here.
You are on the coach's hotline, and we're here to talk to you about the happenings of the Rockdalian Senators. You got to be pretty thrilled with what the fuck's going on here. You're 3-0. You are leading the league in points. Mm-hmm. You just went completely off in Week 3. Before we get into the details of your squad, tell us your general thoughts, feelings, and opinions about the league and your team, sir.
I'm happy to say it's a great start to the year, but, a very similar start to last year and I believe the year before that. I've learned through the last 3 years more than anything else that the season's not won in the first 3 weeks, it's won at the end. So just hoping that the team keeps performing like it did last week, and hopefully at the end of the year I'll be holding the trophy.
That was spoken like a real coach there. Congrats on that. Was very well done. Well, very well said.
He has the ethics.
That's true.
So
That's true.
He's always
you know careful. What? I'm glad you brought that up, Eric. I have been one of the bigger proponents of making fun of your team, Will, and saying that they're, if this was 2007, you'd already have the championship, and on and on and on and on. So, as the head of the ethics committee, I have to ask you what type of anabolic steroids you've given to Larry Fitzgerald that have made him resurrect his middle of the road for the last couple of years career.
Well, really, let's take a look at last year. He was, how many quarterbacks did he have last year throwing to him? Was it 4?
I don't have the actual number, but it was a few.
So let's say it's more than 2. That's for sure. And so really, when you have that kind of inconsistency with the guy who's throwing the ball, how can anyone be reasonably expected to catch the ball? So really looking at Fitzgerald, I saw nothing but upside there. With a healthy Carson Palmer, who the other guy on this line happens to be benefiting from that pickup.
Woohoo!
Really, it was a straight value pick in my eyes. I thought there was he was due for a breakout, very similar to Julio Jones last year, down year. Really stepping up this year. So obviously you can you can crap on my team all you want. That comes with being in this league, but hey, look at the points and the results. Can't be argued with.
Coach, are you trying to tell me that John Skelton and Ryan Lindley weren't good quarterbacks?
Yeah, I think that's a safe assumption.
So Roddy White, I'd like to spend a little bit of time on that man.
He's old.
So I'm pretty sure that that guy in Indiana Jones on the Last Crusade who drank the cup of Christ, and he incorrectly chose the cup of Christ, and what happened to him when that happened?
Donovan got turned into a skeleton. Come on here, I know that.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure that's who Roddy White is now. Are you scared? Do you feel like you might need to, even though again, you have the most points, you're sitting at 3-0, but as you mentioned earlier, you've been in this league for a long time. You haven't won a championship. You've learned a lot since over the years. That even though you're at a good spot right now, things could turn on a dime. You need to always be improving your team. Are you scared that Roddy White is acting like he's Donovan in The Last Crusade? I don't think he even has a target in the last 2 games. And
no,
you need an upgrade. You need an upgrade, right?
Well,
right?
It's definitely on my radar, without a doubt. Week 1 he had 8 targets, 4 receptions, really nothing. Yes, week 2, 1 target against the Giants, and then yesterday, obviously nothing against Dallas. So without a doubt, clearly not getting any looks at the ball, and it is scary. Without a doubt, that's a pick that is kind of haunting me a little bit. But
I'll tell you what. Well,
I'm on the lookout.
Dante Moncrief told me earlier he's interested in being a senator. So hey, if you want to pull off a first ever podcast, negotiation trade right here, right now. I'm game.
No, I think I'm going to hold pat on that for right now. Thank you very much for that offer.
All right, you may not be available tomorrow.
But without a doubt, I mean, upgrade at wide receiver is definitely going to be a big concern for me. I mean, even running back is a little bit of a concern. Losing Andre Ellington. Chris Johnson has filled in nicely there, but how kind of same situation as Larry Fitzgerald. How much longer can I keep pumping steroids into these guys before they fall apart?
You admit it.
We got ourselves a situation here. Cam Newton's been a stud so far. I was high on him going into the draft. Some of you thought you reached a little bit on him in the 5th round. I myself, if I had a pick in that range, would have done the same. You must be happy with Cam right now. He guy's playing like a beast.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that it's really what I signed up for when I drafted him, was to get that kind of performance, that threat from both the throwing the ball as well as rushing the ball, and so without a doubt, it's been a solid pickup, and back-to-back weeks of 30+ points. How can I be crying about that?
Coach, you play the Handy Quacks next week.
Easy 4-0 right there.
You would think, but I'll be honest with you. I'm pretty sure I just found a glaring hole in your roster.
Wait, not Roddy White though.
Not the bones of Roddy White. Your defense, the St. Louis Rams, are playing. Do you know who?
Yeah, playing Arizona this week.
Yes, the highest scoring team, 126 points, the 4th most points in the first 3 weeks of a season ever. Are you nervous?
Especially since you have Fitzy and Chris Johnson.
Yes.
And Ellington if he plays, so.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, it's something that we're going to need to address once the waiver wire gets lifted and everything gets sorted out there. It's something I'm going to definitely have to take a look at, whether it's continuing to start the Rams, which obviously, as you clearly point out, it's would be a fool's decision given the way the Cardinals are playing. But we have to take a look and see what else is out there, and maybe try to make a pickup or a move or something.
It can't be any worse than Phil starting the Redskins defense against the Giants for -2 points last week. So
that was pretty gross there, and I think I heard someone say on the odds makers that they got the Jets defense on the waiver wire.
Yes.
So that I can understand why you would say something like that.
So Will, we've talked about the league and your team and your upcoming matchup. So I think lastly, the only question or thing I wanted to mention with you here, you are fully aware of the ongoing investigation surrounding the actions that Coach Zach Palucha took a couple weeks ago regarding his massive ad dropping of kickers in a strategic attempt to prevent me from having a kicker in my starting lineup. We all know he didn't even do it right because he forgot about good old Dustin Hopkins. Who forgets about Dustin Hopkins?
Dustin Hopkins was projected to score 0 points.
And
he was just signed like that week.
And that's probably why he didn't do it, because he probably looked at the projected points and he had
only starters to be projected.
Although I will say, though, he also forgot the Browns kicker who had projected points.
Really?
So if there was no Dustin Hopkins, and I for one can't even begin to think of a world without Dustin Hopkins, first and foremost. But if there was no Dustin Hopkins, if that didn't happen, then I would have had the Browns kicker to pick up. Huh. So he completely fucked the whole thing up.
Maybe he was on waivers before?
I don't know. Anyway, Will, as you know, this is an investigation that has been submitted into the ethics department. I know that this is something you're taking seriously, and you're going to have your outcome and your findings and the resolution and whatnot at the end of the year. But what can you tell us now?
Well, I mean, we're definitely taking a look at this. As we take a look at everything, I don't want to comment on an ongoing investigation. It would be foolish of me to do that. But really, you know how I feel about this stuff from a, shooting yourself in the foot kind of approach. I generally feel that the punishment gets dished out through the record and whatnot there. So given his team, I mean, I don't know how much punishment we really need to do to him. His team sucks enough, and if he wants to decide to play shenanigans at this and shoot himself in the foot even more, and then further embarrass himself by having probably the lowest scoring team in the year,
hey, that's punishment enough for me. But if we need to dish out some more to make it feel, make everyone feel better and make him feel worse, we can do that too.
Don't forget, Coach Brandon is in the league, so he'll probably get that record of lowest scoring points.
That's a very good point. Given the measly 78 that he pumped out this week.
Well, you're in your A game here, not only as a coach here in this league, but also just in general with this interview. Wonderful job. Good luck to you the rest of the way. I've picked you, actually, and Bob, to be in the Dynasty Bowl this year. So
got some work to do.
You do, Bob, and Will. You're doing good things right now. We're getting into the bye weeks, into some injuries, into some Sunday morning games. Things are happening. You never know what's going to happen in this league. You never know. You could lose 5 in a row and be at the bottom. I don't know, but right now, you're at the top of the league. You're in the top, 3 in the power rankings. So good luck to you, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it, and have a great rest of the week.
We interrupt this broadcast to remind you that you can get all of the latest Dynasty updates by following the Riverdale Gazette on Twitter. The Riverdale Gazette Twitter page. Don't be left behind.
Bob, friend of the show, Ed Hockley, is in a little bit of trouble.
He's in a boiling pot of hot liquid lava.
To fill you guys in, if you're unaware, first of all, if you're unaware, then you're obviously not following the Riverdale Gazette on Twitter.
Do you want to reenact what happened real quick?
Do you want to be Ed Hockley or do you want to be Cam Newton?
No, I'll be Ed Hockley. Hold on, let me just roll up my sleeves real quick.
All right, and I'll be Cam Newton. Hold on, let me get this paint.
Wow.
Black paint. Anyway, all right, here we go. Oh, come on, man, he hit me late.
Nah, Kim, you're not old enough to get that call.
What'd you say, nigga?
Yeah, that's... I'm pretty sure that's exactly how it happened.
That's exactly what happened. And Cam Newton went to the press. He's complaining.
Yep.
They're saying that, hey, Ed Hockley said you're not old enough to get that, that call late hit out of bounds.
Here's what I think. Do you mind if I jump in? I think, do I think Ed Hockley said it? Yes. Do I think he was doing it in jest? Joking around?
Right.
Yes.
More
tongue-in-cheek. I don't think... Should he have said it? No. But I think it was one of those... It was probably a close call.
Yep.
But obviously, Hockley deemed it not a penalty, and so he chose to say that instead, which was not the best choice of words.
And we know that Hockley likes to hear himself talk.
Yeah. He's a fun guy. He likes to...
That was a fun interview, and we spoke to him. That was a good time.
I just thought of a joke.
Sure.
Why did the mushroom go to the party?
Why?
He was a fun guy. Because a fun guy, ready?
Right? The fun guy.
Why did the fun guy leave the party? There wasn't mushroom.
Hard-hitting, wonderful comedy here on the Dynasty Podcast. We're not just here for fantasy football. We're here for your comedy pleasure as well. But where can the sons of bitches who are listening find you on Twitter?
I'm at npalucha. I'm not a big time tweeter. But every once in a while, I'll throw some shade your way.
Excellent. You can also find me at Riverdale Gazette with no E. It was taken.
Yep.
Site's taken. So we will be back next week with another show in which Coach Johnny C will be co-hosting with me. I'll be looking forward to that. We're going to be welcoming on the show Patriots Hall of Famer Troy Brown, Patriots all-time point leader, I think.
Yeah.
Steven Gostkowski, and 2 or 3 times Super Bowl champion Roman Pfeiffer.
I don't believe you.
Listen to the show, and you will be proven wrong.
Okay.
Good luck to everyone in Week 4. Over and out.
Thank you for listening to the Dynasty Podcast. To hear more podcasts in your ear holes, subscribe to the show on YouTube. Or don't. The choice is yours.